Amok, the frenzy of the soul. The year is 1912, March. The harbor of Naples is a graveyard of fog, iron, and the heavy scent of sea salt. A massive transatlantic liner, the Oceania, groans against the stone pier as it unloads its heavy cargo of coal and weary souls. While the passengers rush toward the bright neon theater lights of the city to wash away the salt and boredom of the long voyage, one man remains in the deepest shadows of the upper deck. He stands hidden in the pitch-black void between the lifeboats, a ghost among the machinery. He is looking at the stars, but he isn't seeing their celestial beauty. He is looking for a way to outrun the shadow of a woman he could neither save nor possess. His mind is a labyrinth of regrets, and his heart is a hollow drum beating out the rhythm of a tragedy that refuses to stay buried. Suddenly, a dry, raspy cough tears through the humid silence. A flicker of orange light, a pipe. From the darkness, a voice emerges. It is a voice that hasn't spoken to a human being in years, a voice that sounds like rusted metal scraping against some bleached bone. "I have a secret," the stranger whispers, his eyes glowing like dying embers behind thick, salt-sprayed spectacles. He is a man who has looked into the abyss and seen it blink. And so, the doctor begins to speak. He doesn't want your pity, he doesn't want your forgiveness, he doesn't even want your understanding. He just needs to tell the truth. Before the madness of the tropics, the Amok swallows his soul whole and drags it into the silent depths of the Mediterranean. This man was once a brilliant surgeon in Leipzig. He was a man of cold, hard science destined for the clean, white, prestigious halls of Europe's finest medical clinics. He was supposed to be a savior of the upper class, a man of status and impeccable reputation, but a woman, it is always a woman, isn't it, ruined him. For a moment of weakness, for a flash of desire that burned brighter than his logic, he stole for her, he betrayed his Hippocratic oath for her. And when the scandal broke like a glass bottle against a stone floor, he was cast out like a leper. He fled to the edge of the world, to the Dutch East Indies, to a place where the sun is a physical weight and the air is a wet blanket. For 7 long agonizing years, he sat in a rotting tropical station surrounded by ancient predatory jungles and a humidity so thick it turns a man's brain into a soft, grey mush. He became a ghost in his own life. He lived on cheap whiskey and the heavy silence of the monsoon rains, watching the yellow-skinned servants move like silent shadows across his porch. He was waiting for his life to end without a sound, a victim of that peculiar tropical fever that isn't found in the blood, but in the very marrow of the soul. He was a dead man walking, an exile from humanity, until she walked into his office. She didn't knock, she didn't ask for permission, she simply appeared, a vision of cold European marble in that sweltering, humid green hell. She was the wife of a wealthy merchant, a lady of the highest colonial circles, and she was wrapped in a veil of absolute, impenetrable ice. She didn't come to him as a patient seeking comfort, she came to him as a master ordering a slave. She had a problem, a feminine problem, she called it with clinical, terrifying detachment. A child was growing inside her, a child that did not belong to her husband, who had been away in America for months. It was a scandal that would burn her world to the ground. She demanded the doctor remove it, right there in that rotting shack. But she made a fatal mistake. She treated him like a merchant, a tool to be bought and used. She didn't offer a plea, she offered 12,000 guilders. She threw the money on his desk as if he were a common thief, an animal who could be bribed into a silent crime. The doctor felt a surge of ancient bitter rage. He didn't want her gold. He didn't care for her status. He wanted her soul. He wanted this proud, arrogant creature to crawl. He wanted to see her cry, to hear her beg for his mercy, to acknowledge the man beneath the doctor's coat. "I am a doctor," he told her, his voice trembling with a hate that felt like love. "Not a hired assassin. If you want my help, you must ask for it as a human being. You must show me the woman behind that steel mask. You must give me at yourself." But she didn't flinch. She looked at him with eyes like grey daggers, eyes that held more contempt than the entire world, and told him she would rather die in the gutter than give him a single second of satisfaction. She turned around, her silk dress rustling like a poisonous snake in the dry grass, and disappeared into the humid night, leaving the doctor in a cloud of her expensive perfume and his own suffocating madness. That was the moment the amok began. In the East, they know this madness. A man is sitting quietly, minding his own business, and suddenly a storm takes his mind. A fever that isn't a fever, but a possession. He grabs a dagger, he screams, "Amok! Amok!" and he runs. He runs in a straight line, striking down everyone in his path, men, women, children, friends, until someone finally shoots him down like a rabid dog. The doctor became an amok runner. He didn't care about his post, his reputation, or his very life. He abandoned his clinic and followed her to the capital. He was obsessed, a demon at her heels. He haunted her house. He followed her carriage through the dusty, sun-baked streets. He watched her from the shadows of the palm trees, his spectacles reflecting the harsh, unforgiving sun. He followed her even to the great government ball. He saw her dancing, smiling, playing the part of the perfect, untouchable lady while a ticking time bomb of scandal lived inside her. He moved through the crowd, a disheveled, sweating ghost in a room full of diamonds and French perfume. When he cornered her, she laughed in his face, a cold, ringing laugh that humiliated him more than any physical blow could ever dream of. She handed him a scrap of paper as if he were a beggar on the street and walked away, her white, naked back glowing under the crystal chandeliers like a taunt. The doctor spiraled into a drunken delirium, his mind a kaleidoscope of grey eyes and red blood. He waited in his hotel room with a pistol on the table, watching the clock tick away the seconds of her life. He was ready to pull the trigger on himself. Then a final note arrived. Too late. But wait, he was led through the labyrinth of the Chinese Quarter, past stinking opium dens where men dreamt of dragons, past dark brothels where hope was sold for a copper, to a shack that smelled of cheap cognac and rot. There, on a filthy, blood-stained mat, he found her. To avoid giving him the satisfaction of helping her to protect her pride from his eyes, she had gone to a back alley amateur with a dirty needle. She was shredded. She was burning with a fever that was melting her flesh away. The doctor forgot his pride, he forgot his hate, he forgot the 12,000 guilders and the Leipzig scandal. He became a surgeon again, a man desperate to stop the clock. He tried to hold back the red tide of her life with his bare hands, but it was like trying to stop the monsoon with a cracked cup. He carried her back to her mansion like a thief in the night, his clothes soaked in her aristocratic blood. He sat by her bed as her life leaked away, minute by agonizing minute. Her last words weren't a prayer or a goodbye to her distant husband. She grabbed his arm with a strength that terrified him, her eyes wide with the horror of discovery, and whispered, "No one must ever know." She died at dawn, her secret locked forever behind her cold, white teeth, her pride intact even as her heart stopped. But the story didn't end with her heartbeat. The husband was returning from the sea. The city was whispering like a nest of vipers. The authorities, suspicious of the sudden death of such a prominent figure, wanted an autopsy. The secret she died for, the honor she gave her life to protect, was about to be torn open for the whole world to mock and dissect. The doctor made one last, sacred and insane vow. He would be her shield, even in death. He falsified the medical records with a steady hand. He bullied and threatened the government officials until they backed down. He followed her heavy, leaden coffin onto the Oceania, the ship that would carry her body back to Europe. He knew that in Naples the husband would try one last time to uncover the truth, to open that box and reveal the shame. As the ship reached the harbor at night, as the coffin was being lowered into a small boat by trembling sailors, the Amok runner made his final, desperate leap. He didn't just fall, he threw himself onto that coffin with the collective weight of all his sins and his broken heart. He dragged the lead, the wood, and the woman he loved and hated down into the black silt of the Mediterranean. The secret is safe now. The doctor is gone, a nameless body washed up on a distant shore, his spectacles lost to the waves, and the sea, as deep and dark as human pride, tells no tales. It only whispers the name of the man who ran until he had nowhere left to go. Amok, Amok. Thanks for watching.